Welcome back to Tim is Outdoors. Well, every other Wednesday or so, give or take, I drop content that involves baits that are on my wall, baits that I buy. Today we're going to do an unboxing. We haven't been doing a lot of these because typically when I do an unboxing, I will go out and I will fish with the bait, and I'll come in and I'll show you what the bait, how the bait looks, and we'll talk through how the bait performs, and I'll give you my random thoughts on it. Today we're not going to do that, and it's because I'm just so far behind. There's a whole lot of things that's going on with me personally right now that's precluding me from doing all the cool stuff that I have to do, but I promise I will get back to that. So today we do have a box, pretty decent sized box from Tackle Warehouse. Now this box basically was my dive into getting set up with finesse bait fishing. Most of the time I'm out there, I got a Baitcaster and I got some 15-pound fluoro, and I'm doing crankbaits, some Texas rigs, some frogs, and I'm yanking bass. I'm yanking lips, right? I'm yanking bass out of cover. Last year I said, you know what? I probably want to do something a little bit more finessey, because I do live in Virginia, and catching bass in Virginia is not as easy as a lot of YouTubers make it out to be. So what I wanted to do was, instead of just using drop shots the whole time, I wanted to focus on, maybe blade baits or some smaller baits that I can nose hook with my drop shot instead of just a slim worm. And I also wanted to focus on micro paddle tail swim baits. So there you have it. Let's get into this box. We don't need the Tackle Warehouse sticker. Man, this stuff's gonna fly all over the place. I'm outside, which is definitely different than what I'm normally doing. I got the DJI mic on, so hopefully you guys can hear me really well. Let's get into this right now. We're gonna start with some Kitech. These are 2.8 paddle tail swim baits. I'll break one out of the packet and I'll keep it out of the packet so we can refer back to it when we start comparing it to these other baits. But this is a Kitech paddle tail swim bait, 2.8 inches. It does have kind of like, I don't know if you can see that. It has a belly slit. It also has a back groove where you can set that hook. Man, and I'm looking at the size of this thing and I'm like, what type of EWG or belly weighted hooks would you guys use with a 2.8 inch Kitech? I mean, if there's a 1/0 EWG, drop a link down in the comments, because I'm like, how would you even use that back slip? But anyway, I got a couple of these. I got, this is an amazing color. It is green pumpkin watermelon. I also have just a fancy dancy white, what is that called? Sight flash. And then I have a green pumpkin with chartreuse underbelly. All great colors for my area, mimicking those either small bait shad type fish or bluegill. All right, let's get into some other, that was 2.8 inch. Now we're gonna get into 3 inches. And I got 2 packs from Demiki. These are called the Armor Shad in 3 inches. I will tell you right off the bat, let me pull one of these out. Man, this pearl looks amazing. These are a little bit more stiffer than the Kitech, but I do like the action of the tail. I don't know if you guys can see that in the sun. It is a pearl color, but there's some type of reflective material in it. Man, that is just an amazing looking bait. I'm gonna put it right next to the Kitech 2.8, so you can see the difference. Both are pretty thin, very small profile baits. And for me, I'm probably just gonna put a jig head on them and push it up through it, and it's just gonna be an open hook, and I'll show you that kind of towards the end. 2 colors I got is that pearl I just showed you, and it's also have this Tennessee shad. Very nice looking swim baits from Demiki. I'll keep this one out as well so we can continue comparing. The next one is a little bit different. Now, these are 3 inch. I was very impressed when I took them out of the pack. These are made by Storm. They're called the Largo Shad. I have pearl and I have threadfin. And let me pull these things out, because I think Storm did some innovative stuff with regards to these. Pretty cool. Now, first off the bat, you can see the bait profile. This is much wider than the Demiki and the Swing Impact Fat Kitech paddle tail swim bait. This one does have a belly slit. I don't know if you can see that. pretty big belly slit in it, and it does have the hook groove in the back. Now, I can see myself putting a 2-aught EWG on this. One of the things I want to point out, I really like the action on this, by the way. But one of the things I like to point out, I don't know if you can see it, but at the end of the paddle tail, there's kind of like a reinforced piece of bait that holds the paddle tail. I don't know if that gives it more action or that keeps it and make it more durable, because if you look at the Dobyns shad, there's not a whole lot to it. I can see a bass short striking it and biting the tail off, or me getting this thing kind of fouled up and trying to pulling it out of the cover and ripping that tail off. This looks like a reinforced tail, if you ask me. Very innovative baits from Storm. Again, huge difference in the size when comparing it to other 3 inches, and huge difference in the girth with comparing them to other 3-inch baits. Again, this is the Pearl, and the other one is the Largo, I'm sorry, the Threadfin shad. I really like the Threadfin shad because it's almost like it's a legitimately, and I'm pulling one out so you can see, it's a kind of like a painted, you can see, it looks like a little baby bass or a little threadfin shad, just like it says threadfin shad. I mean, fins painted on, the big dot painted on right here, multicolored eyes. I mean, this looks, if I was a bass, I'd eat this. So there you have it, guys. Very different offerings from each of the bait providers, Kitech, Dobyns, and Storm, but all have their own strengths. And again, I'm hoping you can hear all this because the wind is blowing like crazy. Like as soon as I came out here, the wind starts blowing. It's insane. All right, we're gonna move on. I have one more offering to show you. You can't talk about bass if you're not talking about offerings from Megabass. This is a Spark Shad. Now this one here is also very different from the 3 previous baits that I showed you. And here's why. It's not just, you know, it's not painted like the Storm, and it's more along the lines of whatever they use to make it. They have all of the fleck, blue and black and silver fleck, and this specific color is, I'm sorry, Royal Gill. They have everything pushed into the bait, so I'm assuming when they're pouring the baits, everything was already included. I'm interested in seeing how they can make a line that pronounced in a poured baits. They have eyes that are stuck on. This one here is very different, and as whereas the Storm had gills and stuff painted on, this has actual, and I don't know if you can see that, this has actual fins built into the bait. It does have a slit. It has an anal fin as well. So very lifelike bait fish. So super impressive offering from Megabass. This is the Spark Shad. Last thing I'll point out about the Spark Shad is look how wide the back is. I'll pull that Dobyns shad up to it. Look how wide that back is. So very wide hook again. It has a belly slit, so I'm wondering if there's some very tiny or sort of micro EWG hooks that you would use with this type of bait. I haven't looked into that. I just now, you know, you buy things and then you're like, dang, you know, I need to go buy something else because clearly I'm missing something. All right, so there you have all of the paddle tail swim bait offerings that we're going to talk about today. What I want to cover is a couple more things I bought for my Finesse fishing setup, and that's blade baits. A lot of people don't think about blade baits as Finesse, and I do just because of the size of them. You look at this bait. This is a tailspin from Lunker Hut. Very small baits, very heavy. You can get down deep. These are 3/8 ounce, but I like them because they're small. I can, you know, if catching bass becomes pretty cumbersome and very slow, and I want to get a little bit deeper, you know, 18, 20 feet, I could pull out one of these guys and I could jig them straight up and down and get a little bit of that flash off of that tailspin as the bait goes up and down. I love the colors that Lunker Hut put on their baits, and the paint and the eyes. This one's called Glow, and this other one is called Gilly. Great offerings. I do want to talk about this Dobyns blade bait that I have. Now I do have several other blade baits, but I do like this one because it has the 3 holes. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. 3 holes. I'll probably use the middle hole. They each have different functions. The middle hole is probably where I use it, and that's when you're just fishing banks or you're fishing through. Think horizontal. You're casting out and you're pulling the bait horizontal through water. I would say the hole that's closer to the eye, I'll call that number 1. That's for when you're jigging. So the bait's leaned over a little bit, so when you're jigging, it'll flutter up, drop it down, flutter up, drop it down. To be honest, I catch more fish when I'm jigging it up and down by throwing it through a school of bait fish and pulling it through. To each his own. This is also 3/8 ounce to where I can get it out there super deep. All right, guys. Cheers. Sorry, this is Eagle Rare 10-year Kentucky bourbon. I like Eagle Rare. Inexpensive if you can find it. It's allocated in most places, but I do like the flavor of it. Buffalo Trace Mashville, but we're talking about baits, man. All right, so we got a couple things I want to show you with regards to finesse fishing. You can't really talk about finesse fishing unless you're talking about underspins, right? You want something to throw these 2.8 Kitex out and pull it back in outside of the open hook. The things that I chose are these. Cool baits, made in the Dominican Republic, so DR stand up. These are 1/4 ounce. I like these. They're small profile hooks. They'll fit right on this Demiki shad. I wish I would have time to pull them out of the box, but I want to keep this video as short as I can. So I grabbed a couple of these cool baits, 1/4 ounce silver shad underspins. I think they're going to do amazingly well with these smaller profile baits. Now, I cheated a little bit because these are not, the ones that I'm about to show you, are not for finesse fishing. Take a look at the size of this thing. This is a 3-ounce underspin made by Spin Tricks. It's called a Black Shad, and look at the detail of this thing. I mean, look at how that thing spins. There's a ball bearing right there that allows it to spin. It has a screw lock for the bait keeper. Huge eyes, give the fish something to target on. I'd probably throw this with my larger 6 cents paddle tail swim bait or some of my larger Kitex swim baits. VMC makes some similar ones. I really like VMC's offerings. They can be a bit pricey, but similar. The only differences between the VMC and the Spin Tricks is the VMC, let me pull this out for you, if I remember that correctly. Yeah, it doesn't have the screw hook for the bait keeper. It just has the jacket. But man, look at that thing spin. So maybe it has a little bit better quality ball bearing. I don't know, but I barely touched that thing and it's spinning a whole lot. Now, since we're talking about ball bearings, I saw this, and I cannot take credit for this bait. I saw this underspin on Tim and Matt's tactical bassin. It's called the Hog Farmer. Man, this thing here is a monster. 2 things I like about it. One is that this freaking hook is a monster. It's not a thin wire. It's a monster. You can pull fish out of cover with this thing. So, I mean, it's an open hook, so you don't want to throw it into logs and stuff you might get hung up on. Or if you're risking it for the biscuit and you want to throw that thing out, you don't have to worry about, the hook bending out. Another thing I like about it, not only do I like this big willow blade that it has, it spins pretty freely, it's a dual ball bearing system. So that's one ball bearing right here. The other one is right here. That spins as well. So man, isn't that innovative? It's crazy. It's a bit long. It'll come through the water like this, but still, man, this thing here is top notch. I'm super excited. As soon as the guys over at Tactical Bassin talked about it, man, I was on Tackle Warehouse ordering that thing like before the video was even over. All right, so a couple things I want to talk about, and then I'll close this video out. That pretty much consists of my start to my finesse paddle tail swim bait fishing tackle. So we'll report back when I get out there and start fishing on how well I do with them. There was a sale on Tackle Warehouse, shifting subjects now. There was a sale on Tackle Warehouse where they had these trapper tackle trebles. I've never seen anything like it. They were on sale. I do know I have quite a bit of crankbaits, as I told you at the beginning of the video. Some of the hooks bent out, they're getting old. So I'd like to try some of these and see how well they do. I have a bunch of size 6 and size 4s. I'll get back to you guys later on this summer to tell you how they did. Last things I want to talk about, again, I'm cheating right now. And I have to talk about them because we're doing an unboxing. Has nothing to do with finesse fishing. I wanted to also jump into big worm, and I'm talking like magworm. I'm talking like 9-inch flipping worms. And 6 Sense had a couple offerings with regards to their hook. They have this one right here. This is called I think it's called a, I'll have to grab that later. Let me grab this other one. I just dropped my hook keeper off of that one. But 6 Sense has these sort of swivel heads. You like these guys? I mean, I absolutely love this. The reason why I bought these, and let me see what size these are. These are 3/4 ounce. So I'm chunking way out there. I'm getting 20 feet deep when it's cold out. I want fish to come up for that, for that big meal so they don't have to hunt all day. And I want something that's going to entice them. So let me show you what I'm talking about when I say mag worm. So you got this huge, what is that, like a 6/0 or 5/0? That's a 5/0 hook. It looks a lot bigger than 5/0 if you ask me. Take a look at that. Look at my hand. It looks a lot bigger than 5/0 if you ask me. But look at the size of this freaking worm. Gigantic mag worm. What I want to do is I want to be able to I'm going to see if I can thread this on just for the sake of the video. I want to be able to go out, man, and throw this thing up and let that tail kick back up. What do you always think of when you're fishing large worms? I'll tell you what I always think of. I always think of short strikes. Like you got this much worm and you got this amount of hook, right? So again, it is what it is. You have to be patient. Once you feel that line tug, that tug is a drug, you gotta allow that fish. You gotta allow that fish to eat. And there you have it. You throw this puppy out there, it hits the ground, it floats back up. It floats back up, then you hop it, sit it back down, and it floats back up, and hopefully Big Bertha will come out and get that worm. So one more, and I promise. By 6 Sense again. This is called the swing shaker. It's not a swivel head. It's similar to a swivel head, but here's the difference. And I have tackle everywhere. So same type of bait profile. I think this is a 7/0 hook. So let's do a test to see the difference between a 7/0 and a 5/0 in 6 Sense's eyes. So you're right, that is a bigger hook. The swing head was a 5/0. The swing shaker is a 7/0. The reason why I like the swing shaker is I can pull this thing and it'll sit down and it'll swing back and forth. That other one, that swing head jig, it can swing all over the place. So you would get some type of action when you throw it because the bait will float up and it could fall to the left, to the right, or to the back. With the swing shaker, it just goes up and down. It goes up and down. Now I want to show you why I would use the swing shaker vice the swing head, and it's to throw those sort of magnum ribbon tail. 6 Sense came out with something that's called the ridge worm, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Let me show it to you. So I think it's a 9.5 inch. You see this thing? It is absolutely an amazing offering. So I want that bait to hop up, and I want that tail to float up and freely go. But I want it to always pop up just like that, just like you would have here. What I would caution you guys of doing when you're putting this together is to not, once you get done threading the hook, threading the bait on, I would pull it up here and actually push the hook through the bait instead of letting it to go down here. There's some distance between here and here. Here, you see how flat it is? I'm just gonna hold it. I'm just gonna hold it and I'm gonna push up. You see how it flexes and it bends? I would always either put it here if you want it to stand straight up in the air, right? Or thread it on down low if you want it to be lower in the water column. It's up to you. Let me know how you would rig this, where you would actually put the hook inside of something like a ridgeworm, vice a magworm, and what that does to the bait when it's floating. Basically, when you pop it up and you drop it and you let it settle, whether it's going to stay up like this or whether it's going to drop back. I'm interested in what your thoughts are. Again, of course, to be honest, bass probably could care less. They're just wanting a meal. We're all up here just pontificating on how the bait is actually going to react in the water. And I guess that's what makes it fun. Some people may say, I get more strikes doing it the other way, or using, I don't know, the swing shaker or a swivel head. Who knows? Bottom line is, go out there, have fun doing what you're doing. Please leave me some comments. If you like the video, if you dislike the video, if you'd like to see something else, if you want to send me some stuff for me to review, it's down my address is down in the comment section, not the comment section, in the description section. So please come back, see me, like and subscribe. We'll see you in 2 weeks or maybe sooner. We'll see. Thanks again. I'm Tim from Tim is Outdoors. Have a great day.